calling my grandmother or my Uncle Jerry or the ginger cat who lived next door but one. Our flat on Johnston Street in Hamilton belonged to my mum's brother, Jerry, but he let us live there rent-free. As a little girl, I thought he was incredibly and inexplicably kind. It was only when I grew older that I understood that Jerry's benevolence represented, in fact, a desperate last-ditch attempt to drag my mother back towards a respectable way of life, and in doing so keep us together as a family. If my mother's heart was shriveled like a prune, then Jerry, it seemed to me, had a heart big enough for the whole of Scotland. The flat itself was above a shop and had a huge stone bay window at the front. Jerry had furnished the living room for us with a black and white telly, a brown three-seater sofa, and the sideboard with, of course, the two marvellous telephones. In the far corner there was a partitioned area which served as a small bedroom with a pull-down bed, a little like a large sofa bed, where we slept. Downstairs on the landing below was the bathroom, decorated in that dull shade of mid-brown that was so fashionable in the early 70s. As a little girl, I loved tiptoeing down those 5 or 6 steps at night to the toilet. There was no carpet on the concrete steps, and I can still remember the feeling of the icy cold floor on the soles of my feet, at once deeply uncomfortable but oddly exhilarating. By the time I got back into bed, my feet were deliciously numb with cold, and I would hug them up into my chest and roll myself into a little ball until I was lulled back to sleep again. And Jerry's generosity extended way beyond our living arrangements. He made sure that I had toys and clothes, a summer dress, a winter coat, hat, gloves, shoes and boots. Possibly I was around 3 years old when he turned up at the flat one winter's day, carrying a red coat, fur-trimmed, with a matching muffler. My eyes widened as I opened the package, barely able to believe that this was for me. "You look a picture, Monica," he beamed. "You're the best-dressed kid in the whole street, and the prettiest too." My mother, I noticed, stared woodenly at the wall and said nothing. All that week I longed for the cold weather to come. I prayed for biting winds, numbing frosts and snowdrifts, so that I could parade around the neighbourhood in my furry finery like a pint-sized princess. And even on the warmer days, at risk of overheating, I'd button up my lovely coat and go out to play. I took to wearing it indoors too. "You never have that coat off your back," Mum commented in a flat sort of voice as I hopped up onto the sofa next to her. I shimmied along the cushions until my arm was touching hers, but she didn't react at all. It was as though she was made of stone. Perhaps a small part of me longed for her to reach out and cuddle me, or at the very least pat my knee or ruffle my hair. But there was nothing from her. I might just as well not have been there. And yet, though I would have loved a cuddle, her behaviour didn't upset me. I was used to this lack of response. My mother had never been in any way tactile or affectionate, and so to me, it was perfectly normal. I could not, after all, miss what I had never had. On the outside, my mother was absolutely beautiful. When I was born in February 1968, she was 25 years old, and so would be 29 by the time we were living in the flat in Hamilton with the 2 telephones. People in our neighbourhood used to say that she was the double of Elizabeth Taylor, long, shiny, jet-black hair, which she wore in a thick headband, just like Taylor. She had big liquid blue eyes, which were heavily made up with kohl, top and bottom. And yet they were blank and completely expressionless, as if they were made of nothing more than coloured glass. So often I longed to see warmth and affection in those eyes. Mum was very fashionable. She wore high platform heels, and my own favourite was a pair of towering sandals with a strappy front, showing off her painted toes. She was celebrated, I later learned, for having the best pair of legs in Hamilton. With her heels, she'd wear flares or a short skirt with a fitted top or jumper to show off a lovely slim figure. And she set it all off with large silver hooped earrings and around 20 silver bracelets which jangled on her wrist if she ever laughed. She had a showy costume ring too, with a big blue stone in the middle, and she had a deep throaty voice